subscribe. And if this is helpful to you, hit that cash app. You know what I'm saying? Super thanks, super chat. As well as if you would like these presets that I have, this same SVT preset is available in my Zoom MS-60B Plus packs. I have a 20 preset pack available on my Patreon page. You can go over there, you can subscribe, join. If you want to support the channel, you can, subscribe that way as well. But if you want to buy the preset pack, that for the Zoom MS-60B Plus, that's on there. If you would like this same patch that I'm using on the Zoom B6, is also available in the 20 presets that I have for the Zoom B6 available on the Patreon. As well as, let's not forget now, the ToneX One and the ToneX series pedals. If you have those or you're into the ToneX software, you can download my presets for that as well. Tone models, they call them, But I have 11 different preamps available. Everything from the Magellan to the AG to the WTDI Eden pedal, SGT, the color box. We got the Mark Bass, the Ampeg BA 210 V2 head, as well as Jens Band Shuttle 9 and TC Electronic BH500. So all these different packs, as well as a Harkey TX600. So, we're going to be adding more packs and more things like that. But all this stuff is available if you're interested on the Patreon. Patreon.com. Hold on, let me pull it up for y'all real quick. That need to be on the screen anyway. Patreon.com/All Bass Creations. So I'm going to go ahead. Set this right here. But I definitely appreciate y'all hanging out with me. Make sure y'all hitting that like button while I'm getting this together. I'm sorry I didn't have this together before, but bam. That way it's on the screen. Go there. Or you can go to the description of this video and then if you're on YouTube, and you'll be able to find them there. But let's go. So as you can see, all of them have a really their own characteristics to them. That's the crazy part. Um, for me, I'm willing to bet that the the Ampeg SGT-DI SVT and this Amplitude one are probably the closest ones. Granted, the other two are Zoom products. I love Zoom pedals, and these Zoom ones actually do sound good, especially when you throw on like IRs with them and stuff like that. So the more you start to mix them with different things, they sound. If you keep the cabinet the same. Matter of fact, let me see which one I got this on. I think I got an 810 in here. Cabinet there. Yes, I do. And now we got a 810 cabinet in here. That's why I love the software. You can move these mics around freely. You get two mics on each cabinet. And you get the. It's not as flexible as the software in the computer. Like the one in the computer is just bananas. You can have like 3 different signal paths, and they all run in parallel, or you can have stuff running serial. It's just tons of different scenarios you can run in the computer. You can't necessarily run with the iPad because the iPad doesn't have the processing power to do it. But man, does these joints sound good. So, you got the 2 mics. You can move those around freely. Mind you, I am coming out with my own IR packs of all my cabinets, like such as the ones you see here. So, these will be available if you're using a ToneX software. You'll be able to load them into there. But typically, if you use Amplitude, you might have fooled around with ToneX as well. So, but ToneX actually has a fridge. When you buy the ToneX, it actually comes with it comes with a SVT emulation as well, called the fridge, I believe. So, called the fridge. But all right. So now let's hold up before we even turn anything else back on. Let's see what just the bass in this cabinet sound like together. So, all right. Let's go ahead and keep this same order. So now, let's go over to the SGT. Got the SGT over here running, and all these are pretty much as close to being EQ'd the same as possible. So the SGT is running, and like I said, all of these are running into the same cabinet. That's why I just played with just the cabinet just now. All these are running into the same exact 810 cabinet now, and that's actually being mic'd up with a AKG, this really expensive like $7,000 mic that they use. So that's what I'm running, of course. It is one of the benefits of having stuff like this. You know, if you can't necessarily afford to get that AKG mic, which is up there, it's $7,000. You get stuff like this, and Amplitude is actually really, really close to these things. So the IK multimedia is definitely a really good company when it comes to emulations, and all their stuff has a nice warmth to it, even though it may be digital. But all right, let's rock. And all these, I have the um, treble boost on, or the high boost, whatever they want to call it. So just for a little bit more clarity in the top end. And I typically will roll off highs and things like that all on my actual bass if I need them to be rolled off. That way I can maintain some clarity in there. But yeah, I like that. So yeah, and that's again them running the different ones, running with the 810s IRs on the amplitude, right? So, but make sure you subscribe, like, and share if you haven't already. And make sure that you go to the Patreon. You can actually grab these actual settings from the MS-60B. The SGT is actually the first setting in that pack on the 20 pack on the SGT MS-60B Plus on the Patreon. You know, you can go right here to the Patreon and grab these presets right now for the Zoom B6 as well. That's in there. This exact setup is in there already. All the presets, 20 presets, as well as the ToneX One. So, and you can just subscribe, you know, and support if you would like. So, but yeah, let's continue. So, let's go through some of the settings I have on here. I pretty much have them all set up the same. I'm trying to see which the best one to show you guys the actual EQ setting. Okay. Yeah, this is a tough one. So basically, let's just go there. If you know Ampeg stuff, Ampeg amps usually just 0 through 10 for the most part. So if you're looking at a 0 through 10 on the knobs, I have the gain. I usually have the gain pretty low for the SVT. If you crank up the gain, because they're tube emulation, they're emulating a tube amp, they're gonna start to give you some overdrive, some more saturation. So for my normal playing, if I'm not trying to get to that really overdriven sound, my normal clean playing, I'm keeping the gain pretty low. So SVT, the gain knob is literally the top one is all the way to the left, all the way down. Let me see. Got the gain around 25 on the Zoom pedals. And, on this one, I got it around 5. So that's pretty all right. On the IK multimedia amplitude for iPad, And like I said, I recommend this little amplitude program. Amplitude and ToneX are two amazing platforms if you're a bassist, guitarist. You can literally use them for virtual pedal boards, as well as you get a ton of amp models, unlimited amp models with the ToneX series, so you really, right now, they kicking everybody's butt when it comes to amp modeling. In my opinion, they have the best sounding ones out right now. So IK Multimedia, if you're watching, hit me up. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to work with y'all. What's going on, bro? Appreciate you hanging out with my man, Doug. So, yeah, we got all these different types of SVTs. And the bass is on 7. Mids is generally on around 6. And treble is around noon for these. These are just more finger style. And I also do have on the high boost on all of these. If you're familiar with Ampeg stuff, all this stuff I have a high boost and a low boost, and usually you can put them on together if you need them as well. So I think these are my general SVT settings. You can't go through all of them in one sitting, but in order just to compare them, I try to set them all up similar to that. So all of them are pretty much that. So I know they all still sound mad different, but that's not me. I tried to get them to sound as similar, with similar settings as possible. So, again, here they are. Let's see. Take this cab off one more time. cabinet. So, as you can see, just changing the mics also changes a huge part of the sound with things. But I would say definitely for my money, I would say for this particular application, um, definitely these IRs are some are top notch. That's crazy, but we gotta move on. So that's actually from Ampeg. That's what Ampeg put out, and I trust Ampeg a lot when it comes to this stuff. So I believe that they really did a good job with that SVT on the SGT DI pedal. So that's just my bass in the cabinet again. But here is the Zoom MS-60B Plus. And mind you, you can head over to the Patreon, get them 20 presets for the MS-60B Plus, get your 20 presets for the B6, Zoom B6, as well as you can pick out a few preamps for your ToneX series, pedals or apps, and have those available. Or you can just go and support at the Patreon. If you finding these comparisons useful, you can check, hit that Cash App or that super thanks as well. I appreciate y'all hanging with me, though, if nothing else. Oh, and you guys subscribe, like, and share. Appreciate that. So that's that MS-60B Plus. Oh. Sorry about that, guy. Running double preamps there. There we go. There we go. So, okay. So this is my verdict here, and this is just me personally. You know, you can let me know in the comments how you feel about it, which one you feel is the best. But for me, I actually the analog preamp part of the SVT gives it a slight edge over the other ones. And even the IK multimedia one, which is my next favorite one, right? So just so we have a quick comparison between the top two, right? Real quick. And I'm gonna do this without the cab. Take the cab off. I really am loving this iPad. This amplitude on there, it's fire. To be honest with you, like that's literally a whole. It's a whole thing. I'm gonna have to do a thing on that, but it's just amazing what they can do with an iPad app these days. It's bananas. So, you know, SVT emulations are very common. Like they're just these days, there are a ton of them. You know, it's no shortage of them at all. But the main thing you got to be mindful of is more so the fidelity of each one. They're all not the same thing. They sound like they are when you're looking at them, reading them on paper. All of them say authentic. You know, all of them say they're this, they're that. You literally have to play them and see how they feel. You know, for me, when it comes to an SVT sound, one of the things I'm looking for is that weight to the sound and the clarity of it. And then the main thing I'm really listening for is the definition in the mid-range area of the instrument. Like, you know, that's why a lot of times you'll see me play chords, because chords allow me to hear the full spectrum of what's going on a little bit more. So if I do that by itself, that's only let me hear the lower notes. But if I do, I can hear what the EQ and everything is doing across the spectrum of those notes, at least. But that's one of the reasons why I do that in particular when I'm checking out. You know, a lot of times people say, why are you doing chords when, you know, why don't you play bass line from some, I don't have, that's not how I do it. That's not how I do it. And I don't do it that way because you can't, all of them just sound the same then. But when you can hear the full spectrum of it, like that gives you a better picture of what has a deeper sound, what has a clear sound, what, you know, what areas of the frequency is each one really sweet and which one it may be harsh in. You know, like I said, me doing like that, just allows me to hear. So that's why I do it that way, if you happen to be wondering. But don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. And like I said, these presets are available from the MS-60B Plus. That's available over on the Patreon. 20 presets of those are available. 20 presets on the Zoom B6 are available on the Patreon as well as 11. All these preamps I have, and amp heads and all this other stuff you see over here, I have tone models of for the ToneX One. You can check those out on the Patreon, or you can just simply join the Patreon, you know, and support the channel if you would like. So I appreciate y'all hanging with me. But yeah, so, you know, with SVTs, again, it's for me, it's that cleaner sound, and then there's the grimier sound, the grittier sound to it. And I'm, you know, a lot of times it's hard to get that nice, warm, grittier texture in there. You know, that's why I really do like the one in amplitude. But, you know, the SGT has a huge advantage over the other emulations here, because one is coming directly from the company. So the people at Ampeg have spent way more time with a SVT than any of us ever will. Like, they have everything, every model, they got access to everything that Ampeg has ever done, because they are Ampeg. So that is a massive advantage in the modeling aspect of things, which I think they did a really good job with the B15, SVT, and just the regular preamp, which is more like a modern, updated Ampeg sound. But that entire pedal sounds amazing. So, you know, and as it should, for the price of it and who it's coming from. It's coming from the authentic, you know, it's coming firsthand from Ampeg. So, but in terms of this IK Multimedia amplitude on iPad. This is amazing. It gives you a nice warm tone. Like it's literally, I like it because it's you're gonna be able to duplicate this. Like you're gonna be able to. So you set this up here, and say you have this on your laptop for your recordings as well. You'll be able to duplicate these settings and get very nice things, and you save them, and then you just can use them on recordings and over again if you would like. You know, that's one huge advantage I always like about digital stuff. You know, even with the knobs and stuff, you know, having the physical knobs is amazing sometimes, but sometimes it's like when you go to travel, those knobs get turned around. When you first take your pedal board out, you got to reset. Imagine you got all these pedals on the pedal board and they get bumped around. You got to readjust all that stuff. So that's something to take into account. Plus, an iPad is, you know, a lot of us are already taking stuff like iPads to gigs anyway. You can put this on your phone as well. If you got an iPhone or iPad or your MacBook or whatever the case, you can take all this stuff with you. You know, so that's one of the, and all you need is an audio interface and your iPad and one of these, well, an adapter that you can find on Amazon, you know. But that allows you also freedom to work with different IRs and stuff and the mics and different things like that. So that's an advantage that this iPad version has over the SGT. SGT also has IRs, but they don't have a lot of control over them, you know. So these have a ton more control. But now in terms of the zoom pedals, the MS-60B is version of the SVT isn't as, I guess, full sounding as the one on the B6 to me. And I'll give you a quick example of that as well. I don't know, maybe it's just me, but for some reason on the Zoom B6 they sound a little bit more natural to me. It sounds a little bit more realistic in my opinion. And yes, it does have a higher sample rate. You know, dang it does have a higher sample rate. It's running at what, 88.2 versus this Zoom MS-60B Plus is running at 44.1 kilohertz. So, and all that means is the Zoom B6 one is using more processing power to run it. It's using twice as much data, you know, a much larger file, or you know, it's a much heavier, more process intensive amp modeling pretty much. So it just makes it have a better sound, more natural sound to it, higher, you know, clarity, more bottom. So yeah, and I would check all of these out if I was you, you know. And as you can see, I have. So one of the huge advantages, let's do these one more time. So, yeah, the Zoom B6 definitely has more bottom and more clarity to it. Just it's just a better sounding amp model. You know what I'm saying? Because of it has more. It can pull from more. It has higher processing rate and everything. So, just a better overall sound coming from the Zoom B6 one versus the MS-60B Plus, but that's to be expected with the price discrepancy. It's a huge price gap between 150 and 500. So it should sound a lot better. But IK Multimedia for, I think this pack, so you can get amplitude for free. You just have to pay for everything, literally everything you want to use. I think the pack was like $25-$30 for the SVX pack. It's like the SVX one or something like that. But it's the one with the SVX 500, which is the BA 500 head, and it comes with the Ampeg SVT Classic, which they call SVX CL, and I believe it comes with Galley and Kruger and a Trace Elliott amp. So, you get a nice little pack there. You get about 4 amps with it, and you get the accompanying cabinets as well. So then you got to pay for the mics. That's another 14. So you had about 45 just getting set up with the app. But at the same time, that's not really that bad of a deal when you consider that it sounds this good. This is like studio quality. It's going to sound like that everywhere you go. Like, and it's in an iPad. Like, let's not forget that this ain't something really portable. Something you can just take out the house with you. Now, if you're going, an iPad can run an audio interface, but it's going to drain really fast. That's why you'll need an adapter. You hook up the power supply, and then you hook up the audio interface of your choice. If you have a ToneX One, you can use the ToneX One as your audio interface for your iPad. In this case, I'm actually using the Zoom B6 as the audio interface for the iPad. So, a lot of us these days have some sort of multi-effects unit or some type of audio interface already. So you run that to your iPad and bam, you got your, if you already got an iPad and audio interface, this might be something to consider. If you don't have an iPad and an audio interface, I would say just go with something, and you're on a budget now. Let's consider everybody don't have the same budget. If you want like a complete Ampeg in a box sound, the SGT will definitely get you there. SGT is around $350 now. They actually brought the price down, which is, thank you, Ampeg. I appreciate. I don't know if they be listening to me or not, but a lot of time when I say stuff, Ampeg they be changing stuff. But I be rocking with them though. So they definitely brought that down by $50, and that makes that a tremendous deal compared to other preamps that are in that $300 range. They don't come with the IRs. Like, this has an IR loader in it, which makes it super awesome, along with a lot of other routing and everything else. So, and on top of just having an amazing SVT sound, the SGT is going to give you an amazing B15 sound and regular Ampeg sound plus IRs, all that stuff. So that's something else to consider. If you don't want to have to fiddle with the iPad and all that extra stuff, I would just say get a SGT. If you want the SVT sound in the box type thing. If you're on this real budget, the Zoom MS-60B one, MS-60B Plus one does not sound bad at all. And nobody's gonna know. Nobody's gonna know. Nobody's gonna care even. Because it's really about how you play, you know what I'm saying? You know, what you're using to get to that is irrelevant. As long as it sounds good and you sound, you know your parts and you sound good. So I would say if you're on a super budget, the SGT is a little bit pricier, but the Zoom MS-60B definitely is as budget friendly as we can get. Come on now, you get tons of like almost 100 effects in there or something, I believe. But they got all these amp models, and it's not just the SVT, not just Ampeg stuff in here. You get other amp models in here as well as the Zoom B6. That's on the 500 side of the game, but you get a higher quality amp model there. And that's not just amp models. You get higher quality with the IRs too, and then you get all these other effects to go along with stuff, along with all the other routing options, DI box, all that good stuff. The ability to use it as a high quality audio interface, you know, for an iPad or your laptop makes a huge difference too. So, you know, these are things to consider. If you already got an iPad audio interface, it might be cheaper just to get Amplitude and go rock out. You know what I'm saying? But if you don't, because I mean, you're talking about 45. It's only 45 if you to get the mics and the mics that you want to be able to play some and stuff, and then for the actual Ampeg SVX-CL, and you know that'll come with a few other amps as well. Actually, you can get just the amp, the SVX-CL by itself for like $7 on there. So if you want to just get that and you don't want to spend the $30, you can get that and the mics, and you at $21. You at way under $45 now. Now you talking about $21. You know, you already had the iPad, you know what I'm saying, an audio interface, so you can't really count that. You know, you just utilizing it more now. So it makes a huge difference. So that could be anywhere from $21 to $45 to add something to your iPad. Next tier up would be the Zoom MS-60B Plus at $150. Then you can come up to the SGT at $350, and the Zoom B6 at, you know, nice little 500 piece. So you could decide. I personally say the SGT has the best SVT, you know, and then the IK Multimedia, then the B6, with B6 is a close second to the IK Multimedia, and then of course the Zoom MS-60B Plus. So yeah, in that order. And like I said, you just got to take into account what you need, your budget, and everything else. If you only need amp models, or you want just the best possible SVT emulation, and you're not worried about all the other effects, say you already got effects pedals or you don't use them, just get the SGT. You know, that's going to do you fine. As long as, and it'll be a Swiss Army knife for a bunch of different stuff. So if not, like I said, IK Multimedia killed Amplitude. Like that is one of my favorite programs right now, and especially if you're using it on a MacBook, you know, or a Mac or the actual computer, it's hands down one of the best apps, plugins for your DAW as well. I love it for, you know, because I can record my bass sound. I use it to record it, but if I want to go back and tweak the tone of it, I don't have to re-record the whole part. I don't have to, if I want to go back and do overdubs, I don't have to recreate the same sound. I don't have to worry about doing it that day. typically I EQ my bass certain ways, and I know what those ways are, and the rest is just going in there and opening up the software, which makes makes my life a lot easier compared to if I have to try to get back to that sound. It's going to take me a lot longer. That's why I said, I love having the SGT, but by the time you get to the gig, all the knobs are everywhere, and that's not just that. It's any pedal that happens to, you know. But when you can just set up your iPad and the audio interface, say I'll just take that ToneX One, this little thing here, it'll actually be powered by the iPad, and now bam, I'm running Amplitude and ToneX One in the iPad. And now I got all my preamps, which are available on the Patreon. This one, yeah, I got 11 of my preamps. All these preamps you see here, I have in the ToneX One, and they're available on the Patreon. You can buy them. But I can take this and an iPad and got a whole digital rig in there. Or, I mean, granted, I could just take the ToneX One. I'm not saying I couldn't, but I like actually having the flexibility of this cabinet here. The cabinet part of this software is where it really shines for me in terms of when I'm on stage. If I legit wanted to move the mic around, I don't even know can y'all see that. Let me see. Let me bring the camera down a bit. See if I can get it a little closer. Oh, we almost there, guys. Hope y'all can see that. But as you can see, it's two different. Well, hopefully, as you can see, you got two different mics here. I can literally grab the mics, move them side to side. I can move them, backwards and forwards. And I can do that with both of them. As well as I can come up here. I can select new mics. Hopefully that don't happen on stage, because that would suck. But I've been using this app all day, so that's not a normal occurrence at all. Been using it all day, like literally had it running all day, and it's been rock solid, playing and everything. So you can come here, you can choose the balance between the mics as well. You got your different, of course, you got your standard RE20 there, you got this amazing AKG tube mic. They call it condenser 12. It's condenser mic tube. But you get all these different mic selections here, ribbon mics, dynamic mics, condenser mics. My favorite, again, is condenser 12. Amazing sound to it. Let me see if I can get this. Yeah, that's good. But then you can also, and just so you know, if you want more of the room sound, you just move these mics back, and that'll allow more of the room sound in. If you want more definition to the sound, you want to place the mic closer to the center of the speaker. And if you can't really tell what you're doing here, you can hit this grid on the side there, and this allows you to move different the mics around as well. Which is just amazing that you have this much flexibility to move this mic around. That's bananas. Backwards, forward. Because all these are, I think they said they did something like 600 IRs per speaker. So that means if you're running in some cases they're running 4 speakers. That's like 2,400 IRs per cabinet. That's crazy. It's a lot of detail. But and you get a tweeter level down here for this particular cabinet. If you want to switch cabs, you can come over here, pick your type. So you got options. But yeah, that's the beauty of having it in the iPad. You get all this beautiful interface here. You can just touch screen, move stuff, compared to when it's in the SVT, you get just the knobs and you have to actually hook it to the computer to modify the IR part of things. So it's a huge advantage to Amplitude and the iPad over the SVT in that way. Plus the amount of saving, you can also expand how many amps you have with the Amplitude in the iPad as well. SVT has those 3 preamp sounds, So, excuse me. The B6, again, another one with a ton of different amp sounds, and you get a B15 sound in there as well. So you get a SVT in there, B15. They got Aguilar, Trace Elliott in there, Polytone in there as well, and a few other ones. So, as well as, Zoom MS-60B pretty much has the same amps models, just half the sample rate. So pick what you like and roll with it. But I hope this has been useful to you. I know I did a lot more talking towards the end of this one, but that's just because a lot of this stuff needed some explaining. And, just so you know what was going on and some of the advantages and disadvantages of picking the device or the gear that I was presenting, Like, again, if you want simplicity, just get the SGT. If you like to fiddle around with stuff and not even figure things out, but just have flexibility in your sound, IK Multimedia Amplitude is amazing. If you want that same concept in pedal form, check out the Zoom pedals. But this has been another episode of All Bass Creations Effects Tutorials, Demos, and Review. Make sure y'all head over to the Patreon, join the Patreon, check out the presets for the Zoom MS-60B Plus, the presets for the Zoom B6. You can find them on the Patreon at All Bass Creations, right? And then the 11 preamps that we have for the ToneX One, which is also available on the Patreon, patreon.com/All Bass Creations. Check it out. Hit the Cash App, super thanks if it's useful to you. You know what I'm saying? Go on, send me a tip. I appreciate that. And if you want to check out my music, allbasscreations.bandcamp has all my stuff there available for you. But if not, I'll catch you guys tomorrow. And we'll be doing our ambient music around somewhere around 11 or 12. We'll start a nice little ambient music for a couple hours. So you can come and check that out while you're working. You just put it on in the background. I ain't going to be doing too much talking then at all. But, yeah, thank you for hanging with me, and I'll catch you guys next time.